Hey there, Tiffany here. Welcome back to Brokerless Aesthetic. Today I'm going to work on some designer dupes using just some random stuff that I've got here. I've got 3 different projects that I'm going to do in this video. So yeah, let's get into it. I've got some DOS air dry clay for one dupe, and I'm going to use some tin cans. I've got a glass hurricane candle holder base thing. Um, One of those not hula skirt? Yeah. Grass skirt hula skirts from Dollar Tree, and some mop yarn stuff. And I'm also going to use the Rockite expansion cement that I've used in a couple other videos. I will link those up above in the cards. So these are the dupes that I'm going for. They're from McGee Company, the Hurricane, the Infinity Knot, and the Cement Planter. So I gathered all this stuff together thinking that these would be good pieces to try out. So first I'm going to work on this woven Hurricane, just using this grass skirt and that the tall Hurricane base thing. So theirs has like a metal bands, and the seagrass is like woven around those, but I'm not gonna try all that because I mean, no. I'm just gonna try and keep this one simple, and I'm just gonna braid this stuff together. And I'm also going to try to make it darker like the inspo pic. Um, which you'll see in a few minutes. I have an idea on how to make that work. So I'm just going to take some of these strands of this seagrass off of this grass skirt. All right, now I've got a nice big pile of the seagrass here, and well, I'm not going to use all of it. I got way more than I needed, but that's okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take 9 strands for a 3-strand braid. So 3, 3, 3, 3 strands in each strand. 3, you get the picture. And knot the end so I can do the braid. And after I finished it, I realized, and I mean it looks good, but I wanted it to be chunkier. So I think what I'm going to do is redo this because I have so much of this stuff. I want to make it needs more chunk. So I'm going to redo the braid with more strands, as long as I can divide it by 3, because math. And I'm going to also do 2 of them so it'll wrap higher up on the vase. And to make it, did I already say this? Yeah, and then we'll finish off uh, the color and all that stuff here too. So um, I actually braided the rest of this string, or this braid, by hanging it on my hooks in my ceiling that I use for my planters because it's so long I couldn't just sit there and braid it. But yeah, that was kind of funny, but it worked. It was effective. So braiding these loosely together, I don't want it to be tight because I want it to, be nice and thick like the inspo piece. So I'll get this braided and then we'll continue. All right, so I have my braid done, and now I just need to wrap it around the bottom, and I'm just going to use a little dab of hot glue here and there to hold it down, which works out good for me because I'm going to probably redo it and it will be easy to take off. So just using my Surebonder glue gun with my Surebonder glue sticks, I'll put a little dab of hot glue at the bottom and hold it, and then wrap it around, and then I'll trim the knots off and all that stuff. See, now I've got that end glued down, and I've cut off the knot, and So that makes it pretty nice. And I think I can get pretty close to it and kind of avoid that, what do you, that bump from when you wrap around, you know? That's kind of my goal here, is to try to make it not have that a real pronounced, you know, bump from wrapping it around. And I'm just, you know, I'm just going around it and just wrapping it kind of not real tight, just kind of loose so it's chunky. And like I said, in my opinion, it's not chunky enough. I think I'm going to try again, use more strands in my braid, and I think I will do 2 because I kind of want it to come up a little farther on the base thing. And then again, just the same way I glued it down, just trying to get it even, level, and I don't know. You guys, if you've been around here, you know I always have trouble trying to figure out how I want to say something, but yeah, just trying to get it, you know, to look cohesive, for lack of a better word, and just trim that knot right off. And now I could leave it like this, but I want to make it close to the inspiration, so that will be the next and final step to this particular project. So to get that color like the original, I'm going to use my Folk Art Home Decor wax in Antique, and I'm going to very gently, very carefully dry brush this onto the seagrass. Just a very small amount. I don't want to saturate my brush at all. Like, you can barely see it on the bristles there. That's it. Just a tiny little bit there. Just enough to add a pop of the darker brown, give it that weathered, aged look that the McGee Co one has. Just dipping a little bit at a time, dabbing it off onto dry paper towel, and lightly brushing it across. I'm not pressing down, not trying to get too deep in there. I just want to hit the highest peaks and points. And you can see that it's starting to, you know, add some depth to the seagrass. And even though I went in a little heavy there, that's fine. And you can see just tapping it off there, giving it a very, very gentle brush all the way around, making sure I hit the whole piece. And I'll show you the finished project at the end. So let's go ahead and jump to the next project. Now it's time to work with the air dry clay, and making that infinity loop or not or whatever. And the great thing about it is you can kind of see the line of demarcation where it was joined together, which helps because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to put this together. So there was an attempt. This piece is so cool, and I wish mine had turned out just like that, but not quite, but it's still pretty cool. So I'll just get this air dry clay out and get a nice big chunk of it here. I don't want to make it too big because I don't want to use up all of my clay, as I have other projects in mind. But it's a pretty pretty decent amount there for this. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make it too big. I'm thinking theirs is probably twice the size of what I ended up making, but I don't know. It's okay. And just smush it about. Try to get it all nice and pliable. And I'm just going to roll it out into one long rope, I guess. Tube. Something like that. Just to try to get it more malleable, warm it up some. But it's in pretty good shape. Still pretty moist. It's not too dry or anything, so just want to, yeah, make it long enough that I can do the knotting. And I do have some water, which I can use to help try and smooth it out some. Spoiler alert, it didn't. I didn't make it very smooth after all, but it's okay. So, and here comes the fun part, just me trying to figure out how to twist this around and get it knotted together. And then the second hardest part was figuring out how to set it up so it would dry and not be completely flat on one side. So it's just flip it through. I should have just, I kind of, okay, so I'll get this put together. I'm sorry, I can't talk. It's 11 o'clock on Friday night, and yeah. So, sorry. Seal up this end, and I just smush it together. Use some water and helps get it sticky and smush it about. You'll see here in a second, I've got a decent shape to it. I should have left it alone instead of trying to manipulate it further, because it didn't turn out as well as I think it would have had I just left it alone after I do this part right here. Smoothing out a little bit of the wrinkles and then leaving it go. Finding a way for it to set it up and dry, because the knot looked a lot better than it ended up being. And, you know, this is something I can, you know, play with again, and I can try and do another one, and, you know, it is what it is. It's still a really cool piece in the end. Really, one-of-a-kind piece of decor, and hey, that's the name of the game here. But I would totally spend the $70 to buy it from them, because it's just so cool. So I get this all shaped up, and then I let it sit I let it go for 48 hours before I do anything else, before I paint it. So we'll be back when it's time to paint. Here's another angle of that knot. It does look pretty cool. It's like, how do you do that, you know? So I'm just kind of, like I said, smoothing it, and yeah. So let it set and then paint. Here it is about 2 days later, and yeah, I think it's cute, right? A little bumpy in some places, but that's okay. It is handmade. So, and like I said, I'm going to paint it. So I'm using the Folk Art chalkboard paint, which I've had for a while, and I never actually used it. So it was quicker for me to access than the Waverly ink chalk paint. So I've just used that and give it a nice good coat of black paint, and it's, you know, dries nice and matte, which is how I like it. And yeah, I don't think you need to watch me paint, so you'll see that result at the end as well. So on to the final dupe. So for the last one, I'm just using a tin can pretty easy. And I'm going to attempt that cement planter thing. I'm going to use this mop yarn and the Rockite cement to try to make it look like the inspo. So I've wrestled with how to do this. I was thinking of a few different ways to achieve my goal, and what I ultimately landed on was just taking this yarn, and I think it's like a nylon or a polyester or something, I don't know. Um, and I'm just going to wrap it around the whole thing, glue it, and wrap it around the whole thing, and then coat it with the cement. It probably would have worked with a different material a little bit better. It turns out okay. Um, it's not as defined as the inspiration piece, but it's the right. The twisty is the same, but in the end it absorbed a lot of the liquid and it kind of smushed together a little more than I wanted, but that's okay. So I'm just going to wrap this around the can all the way and tack it down. I'm going to tack it down with hot glue. So now I have it completely wrapped, and now it's time to use the cement. And yeah, so I've got my same bowl that I've been using, my Rockite that I love. This is my second box. It's going to be empty soon, and I will have to just get more because I use it a lot. I've made a lot of things with it. Um, I'm going to make it a little bit runnier. Don't forget the mask because it's dusty and it tastes terrible. uh, yeah, I'm making it runnier than normal because I'm going to like paint it on. So I just use one little scoop out of the box, and I'm just using a Dollar Tree paintbrush and a little bit of water to mix it up. Um, it's pretty runny. Um, it cleans up so very easily. So when I was finished painting the cement on this jar or this can, um, I just took the brush quit right to the sink and rinsed it off no problem. So, and yeah, like I said, it's pretty runny. It's not the pancake batter consistency like I've used before. This is more just like a, milky syrupy consistency, but again, I thought that was the best way to do it. So, I just take the paintbrush and gently paint it on. I'm trying to keep the definition of the yarn and still get it in there so it coats everything. It was easier said than done. But I will just continue doing this all the way around. And I also put some on the inside, coat the inside a little bit to um, kind of keep that edge from, where you open the can to try and like dull it. So, if I'm actually potting something in there, I won't cut myself. And that worked out pretty good too. So let me just finish this and let's take a look at how they all turned out. Here's the woven hurricane with the seagrass, and it's close. It's close. I think I want to change it up a little bit, but it still looks pretty good, and I like it. It was really fun to make. The woven infinity knot, uh, not quite what I had in mind, but not bad. And I think I'll try that one again. The cement vase probably turned out better than I expected, and yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. Still, you can see the texture of that yarn, and that's pretty close to the McGee Company piece, I think. So, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to check my description box for any links to any of the things that I've used. If you haven't already, would you consider subscribing? Don't forget to ring the notification bell to be alerted to my new uploads. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great holiday weekend, y'all. Take care. Bye.